Here we go.
Awesome.
I'm so excited. Okay, let's see.
Are you kicking off or do you want me to kick it off?
Let's kick this off. I'm so excited. This is our first of many real estate in black and whites. Each week on Tuesday at 10 a.m., we're going to interview a top producing agent, learn not only about their business, but about their life. And the goal is for each person to walk away with at least three actionable steps where they can really implement them in their business. They actually got value out of that 30 minutes or an hour, several ahas. And our goal is to really build up the real estate community for you to be able to have the leverage, have the business, have your cake and eat it too, and know that you're not alone in this community. So I'm honored to get to kick it off as far as being interviewed and by one of my dear friends and a fellow top producer, Laura Cooper. Laura, thank you for doing this with us today.
Yeah, it's so good to be here. Thank you, Amanda. So we're going to try to like dive into a little bit of personal, juicy stuff, and then we're going to get tactical and ask Amanda some of her business tips and advice. And like she said, I think the goal is to touch on real life. Hopefully, everybody can relate to something deeply and meaningfully today, and then walk away with some solid action items. So let's get started with a little bit of background on Amanda. So kind of tell us a little bit about who you were before you were a successful realtor. What was life like for Amanda before real estate?
So I've never really had a real job, if you will. I've my mom was incredible. She's on the Zoom, which is kind of awesome. She was a lot of times a single parent and she was a super mom. Got like total superhero. She had three kids. She adopted two, so we had five, and then she typically was babysitting five kids, so we had 10 kids in the house. And it was just normal. I never knew that, like growing up, I never knew I was poor. I just thought we were having fun and that's just the way that life was. So she did an incredible job. Until later on in life when I was like, oh, that's not normal. Like I went into college and I had to open up a bank account for my student loan stuff. And they were like, do you want to open a savings account? And I was like, what is a savings account? And they're like, like if you have extra money that you don't use, you can put it aside for later. And it's like mind blown that that was even a thing. And so that was really cool to kind of learn and grow. And I've kind of gotten to see all kinds of dynamics and God, we've all grown together, which has been incredible. First person to go to college in my family, so no pressure. But I really found that stability is important to me because I know by the time I was 21, I think I had moved like 19 times. When my apartment contract ended, I had moved in with Jeff, and you guys all know Jeff. And I was like, okay, where are we moving to next? And he's like, no, you can just renew your apartment. You can stay another year, and that's okay. It's normal to just stay in one place and build. And so that was a big aha for me I want to build something and I want to have something stable for my kids and a solid foundation. And so life before was very much paycheck to paycheck, lots of responsibility and pressure, but beautiful. I loved it. I didn't regret any of it. Moved to Houston on a credit card and a weekend job. I grew up with my grandmother owned several restaurants, and so I got to work in her restaurants and learn about people, learn about sales, and I was blessed enough to get to drive back to East Texas every weekend and work there until I built real estate up. So now I'm
So
hooked.
what age were you about then?
I was 13 when I started working. There was no child labor laws back in the day. But real estate, I was 23 when I got into real estate.
So
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
Okay. So I bet your mom is probably one of the answers to this question, but so who would you say during that time believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself?
Oh, yeah, I was young and everybody treats you like you're an idiot when you look 12 and you've got a little voice and especially real estate. My mom absolutely, she's even at a young age said you can do anything. Like, women can do anything. Our family can do anything. So she was very impactful. And then I accidentally ran into this lady. She was buying a condo. I was selling my friend's condo and she was buying it to rent it out. And her realtor was like a fancy realtor out of the Woodlands and the condo was in Midtown and her realtor didn't want to work with her on the lease and it was a God thing where we ended up working together and I was not too busy for leases at the time and she ended up being the vice president of BASF, like a huge chemical company, the number one chemical company in the world, and she relocated people from New Zealand and Germany and all over the place and she was really passionate about hardworking women and opening doors for them. And so she was one of the first people who said, hey, you're going to start doing this and I'm going to start setting these appointments for you and you're going to have this opportunity. And the opportunities were bigger than I thought that I was able to handle. And I just said yes. And I totally had the imposter syndrome of, anyone else deserves this except for me. But I kept going and I kept showing up and I kept earning it. And then um, the doors just kept opening. And then there's one other lady, Jennifer Flick. I know a lot of people who are at EXP know Rob Flick, but his wife was so impactful for me. They were my first like experience of like abundance mindset. And now we talk about it all the time, right? Like think long term, think abundance. It's really hard to do when you're paycheck to paycheck. But she, she made me get on stages. She made me talk in front of people. I'm naturally really introverted. She forced me to be a leader. She made me think so differently. And then she made me think about, the more you give and the more you help people, the more money you make. Rather than before, I was like, I need to make money and I need to sell houses and I need to, it was all I. And it was very short-term thinking because that's kind of, the background that I came from is I need to pay my bills. And she was the first person who really opened the door to there's such a huge world out there with big thinkers and, huge books out there and authors and things to learn. And so those three really women have been super impactful for me.
Well, I can tell you that you have definitely paid that forward. So I want to jump in and say that. And I'm sure there's other people on this call who could say that. But I think that's a big I think that's a big compliment that you have women in your life that were like that, but you've also turned into that woman. So I just want to say thank you for that. And like I said, I know there's other people on this call who you've impacted in a lot of the same ways that they impacted you. So it sounds like your business was doing pretty good kind of early on, but when would you say that your business kind of took this growth turn and really took a turn for the better to get you to where you're at today? And I don't know if you could give a quick snippet of kind of like tell everybody what your business is right now, just at a high level, so they can understand from where you were to where you've come and when you think that that shift sort of happened.
Yeah. Okay. So first year in real estate, I think I sold 13 houses and then 15, then 30, then 50. Um, we really scaled it up. I will kind of touch on it later, but I got to the point where Jeff and Mikey's on the Zoom, Mikey and I and Jeff, we sold like 750 houses in one year. It was just
Dang.
unbelievable, crazy. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, now I need some work-life balance. But even year to date, at September, I've personally sold over 100 houses. And I have
Yeah.
babies and I have work-life balance. And so we're still selling at a really high level, which is a lot of fun. But it's I think the moment it changed was before I was like, it's path of, it's a low bar to get in, right? Like I went online and I took my classes and I was a realtor. Well, then I had this thought of, okay, I'm a licensed realtor, but I never thought of myself as I'm a CEO of my business. I'm running a company. I'm running potentially a multi-million dollar company, right? I was just like a realtor, just a realtor. And I hear people say that all the time, oh, I'm just a realtor or I'm a real estate agent. And we're so much more than that. We're in real estate. We can do so many things with so much opportunity. So I think really seeing myself as a business owner and as an owner, instead of going, how can I make money or how can I make the sale and it was all me, opening it up to who can I help, who can I work with, who's talented in that way, who's really good at that, and I'm not really good at that, and opening it up to the who's rather than the hows. That really was a huge shift for me as far as working on my business rather than in my business.
When do you think that that happened? If you had to think about a time, like what was going on in your business that made you change your mindset?
So that my aha, if you will, that really shifted the trajectory of our business was COVID, right? I feel like COVID was a knock in the head for everyone in every industry across the world. We were on paper the best place we had ever been, right? We had sold 750 houses that year. We went to this EXP event and they said, "Oh, we've got this award for, this surprise kind of thing." And we were ranked number one realtor and the entire company out of like 90,000, like wrap your head around that 90,000 realtors, we were number one. Like on paper, we had made it. We had arrived. What's next? That's it. Like it was just unbelievable. We get our award. I'm walking down off the stage with Jeff and he looks at me and he goes, I never want to do that again. And I was like so proud of him. Like, you're right. I never want to do that again either because I was like in the school pickup line with my phone and my computer writing offers while the other kids were like, picking up their kids and it was 4:50 and I was negotiating option periods and it was just like so stressful that I didn't have weekends. I didn't have nights. I had a full-time babysitter, right? Like I had someone else raising my kid, but my quality of life wasn't there. And so that moment, yes, we made great money. I mean, we made unbelievable money, but we weren't happy. Like truly, we weren't happy. And so when I really understood that real estate wasn't just about houses and sales, it was about people and foundations and building and systems and legacy and helping other people acquire what we were able to acquire, everything shifted. Yeah, we wanted our lives back.
Interesting. So I think you may have answered this question a little bit inadvertently, but What sacrifice do you feel like you made, or sacrifices did you make to that most people aren't willing to make to get to where you're at? Uh-oh, she's
I know
coughing.
I have pneumonia. Um, I think two things. One is show up even sometimes if you don't feel like it. Like if you make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do something, you need to do it, even if you have pneumonia, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times when we are our own bosses, we were like, oh, we'll do it later. Well, we make excuses for ourselves, even though we show up for other people, we don't show up for ourselves. The biggest, excuse me, the
Showing up with pneumonia, girl.
I know. The biggest sacrifice I think I made, which is going to be very counterintuitive, is um, not giving up who I am. I think I see a lot of realtors go, who do I need to become to be able to get what I need to do to have the opportunity X, Y, and Z? And they try to fit themselves in a box and they go, I need to start talking differently. I need to start covering my tattoos. I need to start hanging out with different people. I need to get uncomfortable to grow, right? No pain, no gain, all these different things. And I really feel like if you're giving up so much, it's an illusion, right? You don't really have to do that. People think that success means sacrificing your family, your faith, your values, yourself, what you care about. And that's really why we're doing what we're doing. And that's almost the opposite of success. And so I did sacrifice comfort, right? I couldn't play small anymore. I had to get in front of people. I had to give up my safe, comfy, predictable bubble that I love so much. So I did have to step out of my comfort zone in that way. But I didn't give up myself or what I wanted to build or my vision. And I can't really stress that enough to people. Like when you really align with your values of this is why I'm doing it, this is who I am, this is the type of person I want to attract, this is the type of clientele I want to work with, this is how I bring value, and you really are concrete on that and you don't shift and put yourself in a box. Like I love Jeff to pieces and he built an incredible business, but he built it on making 40 phone calls a day. I'm introverted. I would be paralyzed making 40 phone calls a day. I can't do that. I can't cold call people. It's just not my type. And so a lot of times people think, well, if you're not doing that, then you're lazy and you're not going to be successful. But there's so many different ways to be successful in real estate. There's so many avenues of income. And so I think the biggest sacrifice is really just not is staying true to yourself even when it's uncomfortable and knowing what you value. And yeah, don't put yourself.
So yeah, no, I mean, and I hear what I hear underneath all of that is kind of just be authentic and just be who you are. And I'll tell everybody a little story about my thoughts about Amanda, which you were not planning for me to tell you this, but I remember when I was early on in this business, I'm really on the disc profile, I'm really high D, so I can be dominant and I'm very extroverted. And you meet a lot of realtors that are like that. And I kind of thought that's who you were, who people were as realtors. It was only these really strong personalities that had super high drive. And I remember when I met Jeff and Amanda, I was probably in my first year full time during the COVID years. And really, honestly, I thought you were so nice. I knew that I had so much respect for y'all because I knew what y'all had built and y'all were super successful. And I remember meeting you and thinking, God, she's really nice. Like, is she really that nice? Like, I was like, she's not supposed to be that nice. She's a realtor. How the hell did she get where she's at being like that? And I think what I realized is that really is who you are, and that's okay. Like you're different in your own way. You really care a lot about people. Everybody doesn't have to be a high D in this business. And I think that's what you're saying is, don't, and I mean that lesson was learned for me too, right? Is everybody isn't like me. Realtors can be different and you can tap into your own authentic kind of energy and you are different in that way. And I think that's really unique because you don't have to be anybody but yourself. And I just want to say that like I saw that in you and I honestly didn't really believe it at first, I think. But then I realized, oh my God, she really is. She just cares about people. And so I think that's really special. So everybody should listen to that and realize that what they have is special. I agree 100%.
It's a blessing.
Um,
People who work with you wouldn't want to work with me, and the people who work with me wouldn't want to work with Mikey. The people who work with Suzanne don't want to work with David. And so there's such a niche for you, and there's so many people out there, and they're all so different. And so it's a huge opportunity for you to be yourself because if you're like everybody else, you're going to be you won't make any money or be busy. Be yourself.
That's right, I agree. So let's talk about like some current events in your life. So right now, what is one non-negotiable in your life or your business?
Kind of going back to the after my aha, like so I've got like a little mantra. I have faith, family, and freedom. Those are like my big three foundational pieces. Anyone who knows me knows I have this like team legacy, legacy lending, legacy title, like all this legacy, like it's my everything is leaving things for my kids and building that foundation, but I want to do it in the right way. And so faith, family, freedom is kind of my vibe. And if anything in life or business costs me any of those, then it's not success. If I have to sacrifice my integrity or, doing the right thing or, affecting someone in a negative way, then it's not worth the short term win. And so I'm really big on, truly being who you are. And then wherever you are, wherever you're going, whatever your vision is, tell people that. Like invite them into your story, invite them to be part of your journey, share your goals, get their buy-ins on your terms because this is really your business. And so before I'd be too shy to say, hey, I want to sell 100 houses or 200 houses. And now I'm like, now we were launching this title company and I'm like, I want to have 10 files a month or 15 files a month. And I want to reach out to people and share that with them and do it on my terms rather than I could meet, one or two kind of shady, cranky, negative people who might sell $100 million in real estate. They'd be good business partners on the books, right? But you wouldn't be happy. And so I really think, do what makes you happy. It's either a heck yes or a no in this chapter of my life. So.
Like that. That's good. I think everybody can follow that lesson or that guideline. And it's either heck yes or I would say hell yes. It's either hell yes or no.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, what about Amanda's current books? So Amanda is a big book reader, y'all. How many books do you think you read a year?
I don't know. I drive people crazy with my books. I mean, not too many, like 2 or 3 a month, maybe. Maybe. And
That's
no
a lot.
book, yeah. And Blinkist, if you guys don't have Blinkist, it's like a cheat sheet. It's like Cliff Notes for books. So you can kind of go through and see if you're interested in it. And kind of off topic, but the third Tuesday of every month on this Zoom, instead of doing one of these, we're going to do book club because I am a total book junkie. I'm huge on personal development. It's such a blessing to be able to read a book in 3, 4, 5 hours and it be someone's 20 or 30 years worth of life experience. Like you just get ahead so much
Mm.
faster by cheating, right? It's a cheat code. Um, but we'll all hop on here and share the books that we're reading. My book right now, and it changes because we've done so many is the comfort zone, which is probably why I'm talking about being yourself and all of those things. The comfort zone like talks about you hear that, no pain, no gain, get uncomfortable to grow. Growth is outside your comfort zone and all. We're taught from early on in business that you need to do things that are not native to who you are because that's what will give you results, right? Like get out there and make your phone calls and go
Yeah,
do
be uncomfortable.
yeah, go
Yeah.
do X, Y, and Z. And then we wonder why we're stressed and we have anxiety and we're not happy and we're not doing things that align with who we are and what we want to do. And I think that we're told, well, if you just do it more and just keep consistently and like just don't quit, then you'll get the results. And you do get some results, but it's just so like counterintuitive. And then we're all frazzled. We've all got this like hashtag hustle hard, you see those realtors on social media bragging about how they work 12 hours a day and all day Saturday and they've grind mode and all this stuff. And it's like, is that really what we signed up for? Yes, we want to build a business, but we didn't want a boss and now we have 15 bosses and now, we're working all the time. And so I think that so the comfort zone book I highly recommend, but there's so many books out there. It just talks about how if you really know who you are and what you want to do and what's in your comfort zone, build within that. So like for me, I love people. I love connecting with people. I want to talk to people. I want to ask them deep questions. I want to see why. Why are you moving? What does that mean to you? What will that give you? Why is that important to you? Like I really want to almost like psychologically play in that field. And that's important to me. And now I can use that in real estate. Cold calling is not my thing because I don't get to build rapport with that person. I don't get to meet them. I don't get to see their face. And so I've built a business around people, and that's really benefited me. Other people are great at cold calling, or they want results quickly, or they want to learn, or whatever that is. Find what's in your comfort zone. This is like if you could take anything from the Zoom. Find what's in your comfort zone because you've got one or two zones of genius. Like the one thing that only you can do, right? Only do what only you can do. And take that and double down on it and really build a whole business around that because it's your business. You're the CEO, you're the owner. You get to pick your board of directors, if you will, and do that rather than picking the business in the box that everybody on social media tells you.
I mean, I think that's great. One of my biggest aha moments was that you should find your strength and exploit it, quit trying to constantly make up for your shortcomings. And I think you've always talked a lot about leverage. And so for me, I put those two together and it was like, let me focus my energy on exploiting my strengths, which are my comfort zone things, and then let me leverage other resources for my weaknesses. And so I think that's totally aligned and it makes sense. It's the best use of, I think, people's energy. Oh, this is a fun one. So what's a misconception people have about success that you want to clear up? I think you might have kind of already covered it a little bit, but
Oh, success is
in a
hard.
roundabout way.
It's hard. Like it's shiny, right? You see people on Instagram, you're like, oh, she's cute and she's got, kids or her car is nice or whatever. And people are like, oh, I would like to have that. And then they look and they don't see all the stuff it takes to get that, right? Like I think that you've got to really think about, is that what you want and do you want to build that and are you really that committed to it? I think the biggest misconception is that it happens overnight. Like I'm on like year 14 of real estate and I'm just these last 4, 5, 6 years, I'm building and scaling it and creating that stronger foundation. So I think that a lot of people want that shiny object syndrome, right? We want something shiny, we want a quick fix, and the secret is there is no secret. You've got to like get up and do the stuff you don't feel like doing and do those small things every single day. And the most successful people have, oh, my puppy dog, have failed the most. We just fail faster. So it's not that we're perfect and we've got life figured out. God, life is messy. We mess up. Oh, won't do that again. That cost me a lot of money. That was a big mistake. That cost me a lot of time. And so the most successful people just fail faster. We get up, we rebound, we admit, hey, that was a wrong hire or that wasn't the right person or I shouldn't have said that. And so I think don't be afraid to mess up or get messy or admit that you're wrong. Don't have an ego. Ego's the worst thing you can have in business. I know there's a lot of alphas out there that are probably listening going, oh, but they think that they're too cool to learn. Always be learning based. And then choosing that when you fall, get back up and pivot and go, okay, pivot quickly and ask for help. I think that a lot of times we're nervous or we don't want to bother people. And it's okay to say, hey, you've done this before. Can you teach me this? Can you save me the headache? Or what would you do in this situation?
So I'm sure a lot of people listening are going to be, I would imagine, hearing that you sell over 100, you've done over 100 transactions already this year. Is that what you said? And we're
Mhm.
in September, so we're three-quarters of the way through the year. So if someone wanted to replicate your success, what are the first three things you would have them to do?
Oh, okay. So thinking about it as a business rather than you're just a realtor, right? Because you might need help opening doors one day. You might need help, you need your team, right? A couple solid inspectors. You need a solid title company. You need 2 or 3 lenders that you can count on, and really build out. You hear the word systems all the time. You're like, oh, you need systems. Well, what is a system, right? So for me, it's tedious, a standard operating procedure. So if this happens, if a buyer lead comes in, if someone calls you about your listing, if you're going to a listing presentation, if whatever happens, what happens next, and document it. This is exactly what you do. This is how you fill out the offer. This is how you negotiate. This is what you look for in inspection reports over and over and over. Now, if you're just doing 5 or 10 deals, you don't need to do that, right? But if you really want to scale and you want to teach other people how to do what you're doing, I read this once and I love it. If it doesn't duplicate, it doesn't matter, right? You can't scale if you can't duplicate it. So really documenting every single thing you do and being able to hand it to someone and say, here's my playbook. This is how I say it. This is how I do it. This is how I track my leads. This is how I follow up with them. This is how I'm connecting with people or how I'm bringing value every single week. Do that. That would be my number one is prepare to scale. Really treat it like a business. The second, which scares me because I am introverted, is get in rooms with people who think bigger than you. Like for me, getting connected with Jennifer Flick, and she's like, "No, you can do whatever. This is how you build it out. It's who, not how." And get in front of the room and talk to people and get uncomfortable and be a leader and just like she really forced me to stretch and grow. If you're around the same people all the time where you look around and you're like the coolest kid in the room, you're probably not going to grow very much, right? So really try to get into a room where you wouldn't typically get to network with those people. They're bigger, they're cooler, they're doing things faster, stronger, better than you, and be okay with that and take notes. And that room will open a door to another room that will open a door to another room. So always be on the pursuit of learning more. And then the last one would be to really know your stuff, right? Like master consistency. So if you know that doing this equates to that, it's not fun, right? Like even if you're a people person and you're like, okay, I'm going to have a coffee appointment and I'm going to do a listing appointment. I'm going to call and follow up with my people that I love. you don't feel like doing it sometimes. You want to lay in bed and watch Judge Judy. Like you have pneumonia, you don't feel like doing it, right? But consistently, just showing up. If you told yourself, "I'm going to do this, so I can have this and I can build that," then show up and do it, so you can have that and build that. I think that consistency is something that most realtors lack. We all look for accountability and culture and community, so we can talk about the stuff that we're about to do, and then we don't do it, and then we don't. If we do it 3 or 4 times, but leads need to be touched like 12 to 18 times before they convert. So I think that if you can master consistency, get in rooms that are, have really cool people that are doing things bigger, better, faster, and stronger than you, and actually build out your standard operating procedures to where when you are ready to have help, that's already there. It's able to be duplicated. You can build anything in any business, any industry.
So, not a planned question, but what do you say to agents that listen to all of that and they think there's no way I'm ever going to sell 100 houses, or they think, why would I want to sell 100 houses? I mean, I think that's a big, lofty goal, and I know we want to keep it real. So, what say you about that? Because you are, I'm speaking from, the average realtor. You're an anomaly. You're really good at what you do. Most agents are not going to sell 100 houses from January to September. So what do you say to those people? Like the agent out there that's not necessary. I mean, there's a lot of us that don't want to sell 100 houses in 9 months. So what do you say to us?
I think that success looks different for everyone, right? Success for me is getting off work at 2:30 and picking my kids up from school and not working weekends and being able to say yes to the fun vacation and being able to, God, I have 5 people in my family now. Like being able to ride in the front of the airplane with all 5 of us, right? That's success. And it doesn't require 100 houses. So Tracy's not on this call, but she gave me an aha last year. She does something called 36 to life. And all it is in her life, every year she wants to sell 36 houses. That's 3 houses a month. And if she can sell 3 houses a month, she's making multiple 6 figures. She can pay all of her bills. She can go on vacation. She can travel. And if she sells 4, that's awesome. If she sells 2, next month she'll sell 3. And she keeps it very simple to where she's not stressed out and she's making good money. And you do have to get to a certain point. Like in 2022, I think, God, that year, I think we made like 5 million. It's just ridiculous in commission. We bought a second house. We did all the things, right? But we weren't happy, right? And so you really have to go back and look at your books and go, what is that number where I'm happy and I can pay my bills and I can have work-life balance and make that be your goal. I feel like we're so bad about going, well, if I can do this and I can do that, and if I can do this and I can do this. And then
Right.
every time we hit our goal, we move the goalposts farther and farther and farther. And I don't know why, if that's an American thing, I don't know why we do that. Like, and nothing is ever good enough. And there's another book called The Gap and the Gain. If you guys haven't read that, it is incredible. But the whole concept is enjoy the journey because as soon as I'm telling you, like number one realtor, it didn't make me happy. Like the journey was incredible, right? I had a great story to tell and I learned a lot. If you can't enjoy the journey, you're never going to enjoy the trophy at the end. It doesn't make sense.
I will say in this industry, we will not hear a lot of people that have had really mega success actually say words like you just said. So that's pretty humble. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And I was actually there with y'all sitting at your table when y'all won that award. And we had like the Spider-Man party. Remember that in the suite? Like we had like Spider-Man characters come and it was super fun. But what's interesting, y'all, is from the inside, and like probably Mikey was there. I mean, a lot of people, I can't see the whole panel that's on the call, but I would say that I've not heard you aspire to do that again, which not to say that we didn't have fun, but I mean, I can back it up. I mean, it's reality, right? And I think just because, I mean, I also had a really great year in COVID, and I bet you a lot of agents had really great years, maybe their best year ever. And we were all kind of victims to the COVID, like that was a kind of almost like a false reality that year in real estate. And so there's probably a lot of agents that are struggling coming down from that, thinking, how can I achieve that again? And I also didn't really hang on to it very heavily. Like I don't look back at the COVID year and go, "Oh my God, I'm failing because I haven't sold that many units in a year again." And so I hope everybody thinks the same way about 5 years ago because it really wasn't a true reflection, I think, of the reality in this industry to expect to keep going up every single year, year over year. That it's okay to change. It's okay to change your goals, even down, right?
Yeah, no, I think sometimes you're happier changing your goals down. Like
Yeah.
why do we do what we do? Is it because we want to check the box and get that paycheck, or is it because we want to go places and have life and have I've had like over 3,000 Zooms between recruiting and coaching and stuff, and everyone across the board They mention the words freedom, they mention the words like culture, they want happiness, they want, opportunity, but none of them are like, I want a paycheck, right? They want what
Yeah,
that paycheck brings, and you don't have to sell 100 houses to get that.
I love that. Um, oh, this is a fun little juicy one. So if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Mm. I was kind of a perfectionist, and I think a lot of people are. So stop waiting to feel ready. And you don't have to like do it messy, right? Do it wrong kind of thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're not ready, but you know what you want, go find someone who's done it before. And they're just people, right? They all started new. Like we all started new and lost, and we all messed up, and we really wish that we had a mentor. And I think that the next level of success is helping someone else become successful. So go find someone who's already done it and ask them. And say, hey, I love what you do. I'd give them a compliment, offer to buy them lunch or coffee, and then ask them and pick their brain. And something else is don't compare yourself to anyone else because success looks so different for everyone. And the minute you do exactly what you look up to someone and you check all the boxes and do all the things that they do, that doesn't mean it's going to bring you happiness. So don't fit in a box, really be authentic because that trumps perfection over and over and over. And if you don't ask someone for whatever you want, the answer is already no. So you go ahead and ask. Get uncomfortable. I know the whole comfort zone thing. If you really are truly like aligned with your vision and you know what you want, be relentless on that and find the who that can get you there.
There's a difference between having an uncomfortable moment and living in uncomfortable, right? I mean, I think that's the difference, right? You being uncomfortable asking somebody that you look up to for a meeting is uncomfortable in the moment, but the meeting and what you're going to get out of it aligns with what your goals are and what your comfort zone is. I think there's a delineation there.
Yeah.
On that note, have you ever asked somebody that you wanted time with, somebody that you looked up to, or that you wanted to be in the room with, or that you wanted to learn from or grow from? Have you ever had anybody tell you no?
No. I mean, I did have one person that's in Houston that's like really cool Instagram, whatever. I said, hey, I'm building this, women's thing. And it was like she posted all this Christianity stuff. And I was like, I think you'd be a perfect fit. And she totally like didn't respond to me. And then I followed up and she ghosted me. She ghosted me like 3 times. And I was like, well, maybe you're just not my cup of tea, which is fine. I think that, you look for clear and obvious signs and you move on kind of thing. But 99% of the time, no, because I think that the best thought leaders and the most interesting people who are building and growing, we've had those struggles and failures, and we really don't want you to go through them. And we really know that you're just one good hire away from making your next million. And we're always looking for who is that next leader, who is that next person who can help us build. And so while we're helping you, we're really kind of helping ourselves too. It's a total
So
win.
just ask. That's the
Ask.
takeaway. Just ask. All right. So I think we're getting down to the stretch. Let's go with your action items. So give everybody 2 to 3 actionable steps that they should implement in their businesses right away, based on your experience.
Okay, so these are things you can use in your business to actually make some money. And we're treating our business like a business, right? So really do an audit of your business. So look at your calendar, and this is terrible for realtors. Look at your bank account, right? Because sometimes we make good money and then we spend money on stupid stuff. Like I had to look at my Amazon account and I almost died. And really look and say, is this task, this thing that I need to do, or is this expense directly growing my business? Is it going to help me get to whatever my goal is? If it's not going to add value to your business, like, okay, this is going to be generating income for me, this is going to be helping me with personal development. If the answer is no, cut that expense or cut that task because sometimes you don't need to do it or you need to leverage it, and be okay with success sometimes is subtraction before it's addition. So be okay with that. And then conversations equal currency. So the more people you talk to, it doesn't have to be cold calls. The more connections you have, the more people you help, right? The more problems you solve, the more money you're going to make. And so a non-negotiable for me is at least 5 to 10 conversations or connections or touches every single day. Not when I have time, not when I feel like it, not when I'm not busy. Put it on your calendar. It's a business. It's a business commitment. So it's not like, okay, I wish that I hope that someone calls me because they need to sell their house. Like consistently 5 to 10 touches. And those can be follow-ups too, because like I said, it's 8 to 12 touches on follow-ups before someone actually says, yes, I'm ready. I think that's a big thing that people just don't do is you're not doing, I mean, who made their 10 phone calls today or 10 touches? Maybe Michael Bass, because he's on here. Maybe. Um, But most of us don't. And then we're like, why aren't we busy? Oh, the market is slow. No, you didn't do your job. That's okay. Just show up and start doing it. Leverage is better than hustle. So I feel like a lot of times we're so proud of all the work that we're doing. And really, you can work smarter, not harder, and find that leverage, whether it be a VA or a new agent who's, wanting to kind of mentor under you, or someone who's really good at things that you're not really good at. If you don't, if you're not great at it, that's okay. How many people build multi-million dollar businesses by themselves? Not very, maybe like if you're a software techie guy and you built something in your basement, maybe, but the majority of us can't do it alone. We need our board of directors, if you will. And so you need an advisor that you can call and ask questions to, a consultant, you need a great tax person, you need a great marketing person. Now there's AI and Canva and all of that, but really start to think about it like a business. And then lastly, because you are the CEO of your business, really kind of work on who are you as a boss? Because if you follow like John Maxwell, there's the law of the lid. You can only grow as much as your leadership skills do. And don't move the goalposts, like be okay with that. I think that as our own CEO, one, we need to be focusing on personal development. So read the books. I swear, like books have changed my life. They have really gotten me to where I am is reading books. And then also picture, a lot of people, especially if they're on a team, they're like, oh, I'm an agent on someone's team and I sell houses, I kind of work for them. They think that they have a job, right? If you really close your eyes and you're in your office, imagine your name like Amanda Whitespeare, CEO, Amanda Whitespeare, LLC. Like you own this company. This is your business. This is your license. This is your brand. This is your database. And really treat it like instead of, oh, it's a sales call. Oh, this is something I have to do or a task I have to do because I want to sell real estate. This is a business opportunity for me to build my brand for my business that I own, that I get to leave to my kids, that I get to have a database that I can take anywhere, that across the industry, across the world, and really have that CEO mindset of I'm building something bigger than myself. That will motivate you to help more people. And don't be stingy with your gift because if you don't tell people you're in real estate, they're going to call a different realtor, and that realtor is not going to help them the way that you can. So if God gave you a gift and you're really good at something, you need to be reaching out to people to see how you can help them rather than being stingy and afraid to call them or reach out. So those are
I
my
love all
three
that.
big things that I hope you walk away with.
I love all of that. So now we're going to open it up to anybody that has questions or wants to know more about Amanda. Follow-on question is something she said about how she got where she's at. Um, Everybody feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. What do
No.
we have in the chat? Go, Amanda. Thanks, Sky.
Aw. Anyone have any real estate questions?
Yeah,
Anything?
anything, y'all. Could be anything you need to know from Amanda, except how to not get pneumonia.
What's
Oh,
your favorite food to grab when you're out on the way to meet client in real estate?
okay, so I try to cheat. I love making, and we were just talking about this morning. I love making my coffee at home because I put my collagen and my honey in my coffee. And then I love protein shakes. I'll grab and go and take those with me. I just do peanut butter and banana and my little protein powder. It's, oh my God, so good. But if I have to drive through somewhere, I love Chick-fil-A. It's delicious. But try not to eat in your car, y'all. Like that's such an American thing too. Like I know we have to sometimes, but yeah.
Because it's gross or because they should sit down and enjoy and
We should try to enjoy
love their
it.
food.
Yeah, and something that I do with relocation clients. So people like from relocating from New Zealand and Germany and stuff, they don't do that. They don't eat in their car. So if they've got to see a lot of properties, we'll see three or four properties and we stop and we eat or we have a coffee and we sit at a table and we talk about those three or four houses. And it might only take 15 or 20 minutes, but you really build rapport with that client. You're not having to eat in the car. And then you can go on and look at the other houses. And so I think taking a pause isn't a step back, it's a step forward, which is hard for us because we're in that hustle mentality.
Ooh, this is a good, Angela.
Yes.
Any advice for relocating your business? I'm moving 4 hours away. Oh, you are building your house, huh?
So
Angela's building a house in Blanco. So
okay, so I moved to Houston. I didn't know anyone at all, and I pronounced half the streets wrong. Like I called Bissonnette Bisonnier, trying to make it fancy. It was really bad, really bad. And I was still learning real estate. At least Angela, you know real estate. So the first thing I did, well, Jeff joined a team, which I think for some people is really important. Join a team and learn because they've got a lot of leads.
can I stop there and say Jeff Whitespeare was on a team, everybody. So there you go. I mean,
Not
I
only
didn't actually know that.
He was on a team and it was very strict. He had to sign a 3-year contract. And on that 3-year contract, it was 50-50, no matter where the lead came from. And we were babies, right? Keep that in mind. On the contract, it said we will promise to purchase a property within those 3 years of being on the team. Because how can you be a realtor and have never purchased a house? And so it was pretty strict, but he learned, God, he learned so much. He had his little scripts in his pocket and he would like pull them out while driving and he'd be reading his script. But I would say find a top producer or a mentor or someone who really knows the area and then say, "Hey, you're incredible and I know how to close deals and you have a lot of leads. I want to start closing some of those." And that will kind of teach you, I have to cough again. That'll teach you the area. That'll teach you like, you start to build your database. For me as a leader, it's really hard because I get a lot of leads and I give them out to people and then they're just like throwing them in the trash, right? They don't follow up with them. They don't know how to close them. They're not converting them right. And so finding someone like you, Angela, who actually knows how to close deals is so invaluable to top producers and other team leaders. Even if you don't join their team, just say, "Hey, I can close your deals. I'm very successful in Houston. Now I'm in Blanco." And then get involved either like a mom's group or a church group or something to where when they think of real estate, they think of you.
I love that. And there and Angela, there are a lot of realtors who do this, so you can probably find groups. Even like we may even have like a subgroup somewhere in EXP, realtors that move to new markets. Peacher asked, "What if you had to recommend one book?" She said, "Most helpful book. What would you recommend reading right now? The one you're reading or a different one?"
Most helpful book. God, there's so many.
It's
There's
like
one.
asking that's like asking a music lover their favorite song, right? Like you love books so much.
There's one called What Real Estate Agents Say, and that's something that's helpful for scripts. It's like very basic.
Mm.
Our friend just gave us one called You're Fired, Jack. And what I really like about that one is it's just sales. It's not specific real estate sales, but every chapter is only 3 pages and it's very to the point and it talks about, integrity and communication and everything that's so important in sales that we don't really talk about. Angela, so people love stories, and so you should almost do like videos of why you're moving to Blanco and why it's important to you and why you want to have land and why you're building and all that process. And then when you get to Blanco, why did I pick this area? Oh my gosh, I love this store and I love this whatever. And really because you've got this new energy of, oh, this is all new and exciting and whatever, share that. And not only will the people of Blanco love you because you're like loving their city, but people who are thinking about relocating to that area or who want land or who want to slow down and decompress are going to follow you for that.
Amanda,
I like
I
that
am
too because
actually doing a
go
vlog
ahead.
series on my build right now, so I'm already on the mind meld with you for that, and I do plan on tying in, my real estate business with, as it gets closer.
Good.
But I'm also with you on having to learn how to pronounce everything because I also say Blanco, and I've been politely corrected multiple times that it's Blanco, and it
Oh,
annoys me so much, and I don't know that I'll ever get used to being able to say that. But
Blanco. Blanco sounds very country, like from East
I
Texas.
You
know, I know.
you'll figure it out. We went to Leakey for to the Frio for several years. In the first like 3 years, we called it Leaky, and then we got corrected enough that eventually we started saying Lakey. You'll get there. Um,
Well,
but all the Texas towns, there should be like a Texan that has a video. There's probably a Texan that has a video, tells us how to pronounce our towns.
I have a vision board and on it it's like I want to have some land. Like I want, 30, 40, 50 acres because I have 10,000 square feet right now, right? And so I don't know how much land is in Blanco, but like I don't know anything. I just know that I want to be in Texas and within 3 hours of in Houston and I don't care where it is. And so if you were like this is the land that you can buy, this is the cute coffee shop, this is where you can go antique shopping, I would pick Blanco over any other city because I don't know the difference and I want to buy land. And so I think really showing the lifestyle, yeah, you'll do well.
And it's like it's a double, you can double dip, like you can learn yourself by going to explore and then video diary it. And then by you learning where everything's at, you'll be able to help customers. I mean, I moved from the northwest side of Houston down to Danbury, which is like this little bitty town outside of Angleton. And I did that because I got remarried and my husband lived down here. I had no ties to this area. And so, I mean, I'm going to say something a bit controversial, but one of the things I did was I found a successful and affordable lead source to pay for some leads in the area so that I could at least get some business coming in. And then the thing is I worked really hard on those leads and I worked really hard for my customers. And then by year 3, I was getting referrals from those first customers. So you don't need to, I don't think, overwhelm yourself by thinking you've got to go in and automatically like step into the same business you're in now, but realize it can be a snowball effect. But you really, like Amanda's systems advice earlier, get those systems in place, use that time to like build the foundation of your business. That way, when you do get a customer in blanco, you can service them so well that those turn into referral partners.
Yeah. And anywhere you go, if it's going to be, relocating, or if you're going to small businesses, or like I'm passionate about business owners because we're all, as realtors, small business owners, find the connector. Because as an introvert, I don't want to talk to 100 people. I really want to talk to 5 that love talking to 100 people. Like Laura Cooper can talk to a brick wall, right? So she's in my life, right? Because she's a connector. And so finding those connectors in that community who will refer you 5, 6 deals a year. You only need, if you have 5 of those, that's going to be 25 or 30 closings a year.
There you go.
Go deep,
Love it.
wide.
Any more questions or comments? It was super helpful.
That was so great. Thank you so much,
That
Laura.
was.
This was awesome. So every single week we're going to have a different person. You'll learn about them, and then you'll have at least 3 takeaways that you can really implement in your business. And then if you guys have any questions, especially a lot of y'all are in our Team Legacy family, just reach out to me. We all are really passionate about helping each other. So there's no such thing as silly questions. We've all been new. We've all kind of struggled. And so my goal is to really help other people build businesses and multiple streams of income, and get their life back, buy their time back.
So I'm going to ask you real quick then, specifically, if people wanted to get in touch with you, if they wanted you to be that person that they kind of want to get in the room with and spend time with, what do you think is the best way for somebody to reach out to connect with you?
I don't know if I can share my number on the video. I'll share it in the text box. You guys can text me. You can email me, Amanda at citysidehouston.com, CITYSIDE Houston.com. And then also Amanda, I'm the only Amanda Whitespeare. Whitespeare is not a very common name. So Amanda Whitespeare on Instagram or Facebook, you can message me and I'll help in truly any way.
Okay, I got it on Facebook. I put your email address, Amanda at citysidehouston.com.
That's perfect.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amanda. You're the best.
Thank you. We'll see you all next Tuesday. Have a blessed week.